Namaste, Namaskaram, Vanakkam, Namo Namaha, Jai Ganesha. Please visit our website at classicalyoga.org, and there's a donate button there if you'd like to help us out, and we could use your help. So today's podcast, human interactions, also found in the Yoga Sutras, and the role of the guru in Hinduism. So we're going to look first in general at some advice for our basic human interactions. Then we're also going to look at, as a guru, teaching basically Hindu students and how to interact with them. And then the third will be the Guru-Chela-Shishya relationship, which is a very deep relationship, which is really what the Yoga Sutras are all about. Like so much of Hinduism that has been distorted, and we Hindus are at fault for not standing up for the Dharma. We're coming into another Ganesha Chaturthi, and that is our primary message, just like the young Balaganapati behind us here. We have to learn to stand up for principles. You can listen to our video on Ganesha. And also we have some podcasts that go more deeply into the Yoga Sutras and how they've been totally distorted. But basically the Yoga Sutras, written by the Saiva Hindu Guru Patanjali, are a manual for male renunciate or yogi, true yogis, brahmacharyas, celibates in training. That's really what it is designed for. However, the Guru is also giving these chelas who are destined to become gurus ways to interact with the general public, with Hindu students, and then with Hindu chelas. So there's three approaches here. And the number one, we can all benefit from this, for in the Yoga Sutras, in Pada 1, Sutta 33, Patanjali gives a very profound and simple recipe for getting along with our fellow human beings. Maitri, Karuna, Mudita. Strive to be friendly, compassionate, and happy. In other words, if you are friendly and compassionate, you probably will be more or less happy. And certainly those around you will be happy. Think of the opposite. If we're unfriendly, if we lack compassion, we won't be happy, and those around us won't be happy. Remember, those who lack compassion, lack empathy at all, that's entering into the dangerous area of narcissism. So, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, be friendly, be compassionate, and be happy. So he's giving this advice to his chelas in interacting with the general public, if you will. Good advice for all of us. Number two, though, he's now teaching them, right? And by the way, we need to clarify what is a guru, because again, like so many of the Sanskrit, Tamil, Hindu terms, they've been totally distorted. A guru is a Hindu who teaches within a Hindu context. So you could have a Pandit guru, a Pujari guru, you could have a dance guru, you could have a guru that teaches you art, and you have a Satguru, a perhaps renunciate Swami that takes you deeper into Atma Darshana. And that's really where Patanjali is coming from, and that's what he's training. He's training these young male Hindu renunciate yogis to become gurus. And so in this becoming of a guru, there's a tremendous responsibility here to first know one's audience. So again, the general public, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, our fellow human beings, this is great advice. Be friendly, be compassionate, and be happy. However, when the guru is working with basic students, he gives in the Yoga Sutras two types of samadhi, because you're trying to whatever degree, take the student into what we call samadhi or calm wisdom, and further into moksha, freedom, kaivalya, liberation. The latter two are a more intense experience, obviously, of being free from the shackles, if you will, of Maya, of the hard ego. So he gives two types of samadhi or calm wisdom. So the first one, we call it the Samprajnata samadhi, the samadhi with seed. This is how a guru should be teaching the general public about Hinduism and encourage them. And again, this is some pretty general stuff for everybody. Encourage them to seek reason and logic, judgment, sound judgment, and a true sense of joy or bliss. And this then refines one's ego. Remember, our goal is not to destroy the ego. That's impossible unless one has some serious mental illnesses. We want to refine the ego. So he gives 4 steps: vitarka, vichara, ananda, asmita. Reason and logic, vitarka. Judgment, vichara. Ananda, bliss, understanding what is true joy rather than temporary joy that comes from perhaps food or illicit substances or emotional highs, but a true lasting, wholesome goodness of bliss, ananda. And this helps then to refine the ego, asmita. Vitarka, vichara, ananda, asmita. This is the guru's responsibility when teaching the general public about the Hindu yoga dharma. Now, when it comes to the chela or shishya, chela is Hindi and shishya is Sanskrit. These are the intimate disciples of a guru. This is a whole other ball game. This is then the second type of samadhi, called asamprajnata samadhi. Shraddha, virya, smriti, samadhi, prajna. First and foremost, the chela, the shishya, must have full faith, shraddha, in the dharma and in the guru. Full, not 50%, not 99.9%, but full faith in the guru. That's why this is such a rare experience. And in the ancient scriptures, in the Vedas, etc., the gurus only had 1 or 2 disciples. It's not this mass movement that you see today where people calling themselves gurus. Because it's that hard. If you want to liken it to things in the world, it's like becoming an elite athlete or entering into the military, for example, and then even into the more elite areas of the military, like the Green Berets or the Army Rangers or the Navy SEALs, which actually have an 85% dropout rate. And all those that go into it are pretty strong individuals. But that's how difficult it is. How many athletes make it to the Olympics, right? And how many of those that make it to the Olympics win a gold medal? So really, this is how one should understand the true Guru-Chela-Shishya relationship. It's an extremely intense relationship because the Guru is helping the Chela to eventually become a Guru theirself. So they have to have full faith in the process, Shraddha. They have to have a totally warrior spirit, Vira. Remember the youthful, loving warrior at the heart? We have all 3, but we have to have that warrior spirit. That's what Muruga represents up there. Like Hanuman and Krishna and Durga Ma, the youthful, loving warrior spirit, a warrior of the within. And then one must have a profound memory, smriti. And then, of course, the primal memory for all of us, which is actually the first chakra, and Ganesha, that's why Ganesha is always first, is to never ever forget who you are. Tattvamasi, that thou art. You are the soul, the Atmana, to us as Hindus, which is different. Of Satchitananda, Jyoti, Shakti, Ananda, Shanti, love, light, and energy. Om, this are we with emotions, mind, and body. So, Shraddha, Virya, Smriti. Then one has an in-depth experience of calm wisdom, Samadhi. And you might think that's the last, but it's not, because again, he's training gurus to go out into the world and teach others. So the 5th aspect is prajna. So in a sense, one comes down from samadhi to prajna, or spiritual perception, in order to transmit the teachings to another. So shraddha, virya, smriti, samadhi, prajna. Full faith in the dharma, full faith in the guru. A profound memory. the warrior spirit, obviously, and the profound memory, to a calm wisdom, samadhi, and then project that to others, prajna. Shraddha, virya, samiti, samadhi, prajna. And it's clear if one really looks at the Yoga Sutras, not kind of a New Age translation. He goes even deeper in the second pada, and this is the part that's totally distorted under the so-called Ashtanga Yoga of today. In this second pada, Patanjali gives the rules, the yamas and the niyamas, for these gurus in training, these chelas in training, and it's demanding absolute celibacy, brahmacharya. It's demanding that they basically renounce the physical world, a parigraha. They don't receive anything. That's the true yogi or yogini who is really off the grid. And then they develop a deep sense of purity by becoming disgusted with their own body and the bodies of others. In other words, they're striving to go so deep within that they realize that the body, in a sense, is an impediment. And again, contrast this with today's so-called yoga and even the so-called Ashtanga yoga, where it's a glorification of the body. An intense tapas. One must have a connection to Hindu devatas, Ishta devatas, Samprayogaha. And then obviously, since he was a Saiva Hindu guru, Vaishnava guru would be teaching within the context of Vaishnavism, but Ishvara Pranidhana, full devotion to Ishvara, in this case, that is Shiva, Mahadeva Shiva, Adinatha. So this is the true intensity of the yamas and the niyamas. And then just so that people understand, in this Ashtanga, eightfold limbs of yoga, he then does speak about asana, but remember, this is the area that's typical Hatha yoga. And that was the area that's supposed to be secret, and actually Patanjali makes absolutely no mention at all of any specific asana. Simply sthira sukham asanam, find one steady, comfortable posture. Why? So that one can go into the absolute ananta, and then transcend, not enter into, but transcend duality, dvandava, anabhagataha. And then one further goes into pranayama, where they go deeper within, into pratyahara, fully detaching from the outer senses, and into dharana, where one now does not expand their mind, but limits the field of their mind. So focused now, dharana. And then becoming totally absorbed, dhyana, in the continual dance of consciousness. And then on into samadhi, where one goes beyond light, prakashavaranam, reveals the inner light, and then goes beyond the inner light, ultimately into the no-thingness, which is the end goal, kaivalya, liberation. Interestingly, that is the goal for the chela or the shishya, to become nothing. Purush artha sunyam. That's how the Yoga Sutras end up. The wealth of the knowledge of no-thingness, sunyam, becoming nothing. It's only when one truly becomes nothing in this sense that they can now come out and teach from a proper context, having purified their outer nature through rigorous tapas and disciplines, through adhering to basically everything the Guru says. That's why this is not for the masses. This is only for a few people. It's just like, again, if one goes into SEAL training, for example, I mean, one could look at the mentors, the trainers, as basically malignant narcissists, because that kind of training is so intense that those striving to become Navy SEALs are considered basically nothing. They are so abused physically, mentally, and emotionally to break them down in order for them to truly find their inner warrior spirit. And this is why this is not for everybody. And that's why being a guru is not anything to take lightly. I think if the ramifications of being a guru were placed before the chela or the shishya in the beginning, it's why we have concealing grace. I don't think anybody would want to do it, because you have to deal with so many different people at different levels, and they're just not going to understand. Really, in life, how can we understand somebody who has attained something that we have yet to attain? How can we do it? We just can't do it. We have to have that shraddha, that full faith. It has to be something that comes from inside, the inner knowing of the Atmana, that says, yeah, this is really what I need, my path in life, where I need to go, and the person for me. Remember, we have many gurus in Hinduism, and not everyone is for everybody. So you have to find one that suits you and fits you. So these are just some thoughts on basic interactions with our fellow human beings in general. Just be Maitri Karuna Mudita, and what a world it would be if we could just be friendly and compassionate and thus happy. Maitri Karuna Mudita. And then for everyone in general, and certainly when one is a student of Hinduism, one needs to be rational, logical, vitarka. Exercise sound judgment, vichara. Try to find out what is true bliss, what is true joy, rather than the temporary joys, the raga and devesha, the sukha dukkha. And then this leads to a deeper understanding of what samadhi is and what it is to have a purified, refined ego. Remember again, we don't want to get rid of the ego. We want to purify it. Like the mind, make it your best friend instead of your worst enemy. And then obviously, if one is considering becoming a chela or a shishya, they have to understand that this is a deep, deep, profound relationship. And in today's world, there's two classifications here of chelas. You have the married chelas, right? Because many gurus have chelas and shishyas that are married grihastas, so they obviously are not treated as intensely as an unmarried one would be. The unmarried ones, they have to basically give up everything. And this is tough, right? These are across the world, this is what monks and nuns do, right? They go into a life of total renunciation. But for the grihasta or the family chelas or shishyas, they're not put under that kind of intensity, but they have a tremendous responsibility. Remember, in Hinduism in general, it's the grihastas, the family people, that must support the mandirs and the ashrams. And if one is a family or grihasta chela or shishya, they must support their gurus. That's what the guru's not out there working a 9-to-5 job, right? It is the responsibility of these chelas to support the guru physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. This is very important. And the guru has their work, obviously. The guru guides them, counsels them, does the pujas often, writes the many books, and gives knowledge to them and guidance. So it really is up to the grihastas to be very magnanimous in taking care of the gurus. And if they don't, well, then they're not really being a very good chela, right? And then again, when we have the chelas or the shishyas that decide not to go into grihasta, the renunciate celibates, it's totally different. Huh? They have to basically be willing to give up everything in the material world to follow their guru, which is what their guru did too. If they have a true Sadguru, they did the exact same thing. They gave basically up everything in the world to pursue this deep understanding of the Atmana, so that they could present that to others in prajna. So these are just some interesting thoughts that have been sparked by questions from various students and chelas, right? Again, a true Sadguru will probably have very few chelas, right? Maybe 1 or 2 or 3. maybe a handful. That's about it, huh? Because there's so few that can understand that. Now, may have several um, grihasta or family chelas, but as far as the renuncia chelas, that's very, very limited in number, as it should be. Again, just like if one wants to become a Navy SEAL, good luck. Again, it's an 85% dropout rate. It is so difficult to. And remember that a guru can be a male or a female, and it's most often that the male gurus, especially for the renunciate, obviously, because they're maintaining a celibacy, the renunciate gurus and renunciate chelas, right? It's male upon male and female upon female. That is the way it was traditionally done, but it's for everyone. But interestingly, in the Navy SEALs, for example, even though there's a movie out, G.I. Jane, where she becomes a Navy SEAL, that's yet to happen. No woman has ever been able to qualify. It's the physical training is just so intense, and mental and emotional breaking down of their will, actually, so that they can build them into a new creature, a new warrior. Something to think about. So as we enter into another Ganesha Chaturthi, we love the form of the Bala Ganapati because remember, there's some profound lessons there. Remember, he stood up to protect his Mataji. And what happens? Shiva comes home and lops off his head because he wouldn't let him pass. So you may be thinking, what in the world is this all about? Well, there's a couple of important lessons there. Number one, in life, this is teaching us that when you have some truth, some principles, some people that you truly love, you must stand up and protect them, like he was protecting his Mataji. Even at great peril to yourself. Right? And in life, when we stand up for principles, and we get over being a coward, and we stand up for principles, sometimes we're going to win and sometimes we're going to lose. This is just the way life goes, in all of life, right? We win and we lose. Actually, we learn a lot more sometimes from our losses. And it gives us a sense of good sportsmanship. So sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. In this case, Ganapati lost, and he lost big. Sometimes we lose really big. He lost his head. But we know what happened. He gets the elephant head. I mean, he had a human head to begin with, but he got an elephant head. So this completes the symbolism. Remember, these are symbolic tales that are teaching us profound life lessons. So the point here is that if we do stand up for truth, in the end, everything will turn out okay. It might be another lifetime, but it will turn out okay. We have to stand up for our principles no matter what. But there's another important thing here in the severity of Mahadev Shiva cutting off Ganapati's head. This is kind of an unjust suffering. It's almost like what happened with Jesus on the cross. There's kind of an unjust suffering there. And when the guru perhaps gives the chela something that they completely don't understand at all, what do? They can't renounce the guru. They have to just accept that there's a greater purpose here. And that's the wisdom of Ganapati. Just think about if your father cuts your head off, right? What do? Do you denounce? He didn't denounce his father. Because then we have a subsequent story of where he goes around his Mata and Pita to show that they are his whole world. So he fully accepted the wisdom of his Guru Shiva and what he put him through. And he forever became this great Mahadeva because of his great understanding of the tapas that was given to him. And he didn't renounce his Guru or criticize his Guru. No, he worshipped his Guru's feet, as we are supposed to do as Hindus. Worship, first and foremost, our Mata and our Pita and Bhumi Mata. Right? Respect them. And then if you have a Guru in your life, understand that relationship. It may be a very mild one. It may be a very intense one in the true Guru Shishya Chela relationship. So I hope this has been some benefit to you. If you have any questions, you can please put some comments there. So thank you for listening, and have a wonderful day as we go from untruth to truth. Asato ma sadgamaya, ignorance to enlightenment, tamaso ma jyotir gamaya, and never forget who you are. Mrityorma amritam gamaya, shanti, 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 Jai Ganesha. Shuklam Bararam Vishnum Shashivanam Chatopujam Prasanna Varam Dhyayat Sarva Vigno Prashantaye Bhuvasvaha Taprushaye Vidmahe Vakratundaya Dhimahe Tanodante Prachurayat. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Ganapati 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 Palayamam. Ganapati Gunapati Gajapati Mamapati Varapati Surapati Palayamam. Ganapati Bala Ganapati Natana Ganapati Gambi Ganapati Vatabi Om Shri Ganesha Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om. May Mahaganapati bless all of us. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Namo Namaha. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.